Okay, the final approach to interpretation is something called the purposive approach. So an explanation of what this is with a couple of cases. So this rule goes beyond the mischief rule. You're not just looking at the gap in the law. What judges are trying to do here is they are trying to decide what Parliament intended in the Act. So it's a very modern approach. It's used in Europe a lot. So it's a very popular approach used by judges across the world. And what judges have to do is they have to use extrinsic, so that just means external, extrinsic aids to help find Parliament's intention. So a couple of cases to back up the purposive approach. The case of Smith. So Smith wanted his birth certificate and he applied in the correct way that was stated in the Act of Parliament. Now, the literal rule would therefore say he was allowed the birth certificate. However, big problem coming up, he had been convicted of 2 murders. And they were really worried that he would find out who his real mother was because he was adopted. And they were worried that he would go and kill her. He would find out on the birth certificate who his mother was, he'd go off and he would kill her. He's got history, he's a murderer. Okay, so under the literal rule, had he applied in the correct way? Yes, you would have to give him his birth certificate. However, judges thought, we can't do this. Surely Parliament didn't intend for dangerous people to be able to find out who their birth parents were, and convicted murderers, they shouldn't be able to find this out. So therefore they said Parliament didn't intend for a murderer and a dangerous person to be allowed his birth certificate. So no, sorry Smith, you can't have your birth certificate. The next case is called the Tower Boot Company. Now this is about racism. Is an employer liable for racism from the employee in the course of their employment? So the interpretation that we are concerned about here is what is meant by in the course of their employment. So Mr. Jones was racially abused and left his job. The employers said they didn't employ people to be racist, therefore it's not in the course of their employment. Courts used the purposive approach and said Parliament's intention is for employers to be responsible for their employees. So actually the employers were responsible for the racism. Okay, so now watch the evaluation of the purposive approach.